What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Alright, today's video, we are going to be talking about Heroes Reborn number 6 by Jason Aaron, Erica D'Urso, and Ed McGuinness. And in this video, we are going to learn how the Marvel Comics equivalent to Wonder Woman, the Power Princess, separates herself from Earth's mightiest Amazon. Not only that, we're also going to talk about why she is a more hardcore version of Wonder Woman than even the darkest version of Wonder Woman that DC Comics has ever produced. We're going to talk about all that and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the video, I humbly ask that you Hulk smash that like button because it really helps the channel out. That said, let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Zarda Shelton, the Power Princess, is a Marvel Comics pastiche of DC Comics Wonder Woman, if that wasn't obvious enough, but maybe even possibly more hardcore than the Diana of DC Comics. Power Princess is basically what Wonder Woman typically becomes in almost every dark version or twisted future or alternate timeline in DC Comics. She's brash, she's merciless, she's even more barbaric than most depictions of classic Thor and Hercules. She's been a killer since she was a child, beheading her first man when she was barely 8 years old. She's gone toe-to-toe with Marvel's greatest and most evil villains. She ended World War II by beheading Hitler. She's even defeated Gore the God Butcher single-handedly and wielded the power of all black for herself, transforming it into the Necro Lasso. Power Princess, like Diana of DC Comics, hails from an island comprised of all women, though it's not called Themyscira, and the women are not Amazons. The place in question is called Utopia Isle, a play on Themyscira's alternative name of Paradise Isle, and the Amazons here are called Utopians. Though they don't exist anymore, they were all wiped out long ago. And we're never really quite given exactly a 100% reason why this is the case, but I'm pretty sure that it's something that will probably get addressed somewhere down the road. This Power Princess is not only able to solo the Mangog, a powerful beast capable of destroying all of Asgard and its gods on his own, even in Earth 616, but a Mangog who's already done as much. He's already devoured Asgard and all of its gods, Odin especially, and now possessing Odin's power, Mangog is now the all-powerful destroyer, albeit one still susceptible to an old Thor trick. Having eaten Power Princess's bracers, those that are similar to Wonder Woman's own bracers in DC Comics, only these have an enchantment that might remind you of Thor's Mjolnir. The bracers are made of Uru and enchanted to be bound to Zarda's soul. They always come back to her when they're called. Using this trick, she rips them from Mangog's belly and returns them to her wrist, incapacitating him enough that she can turn him to stone. Not only did the Utopians forge Uru, not using dwarves like in Thor's Earth 616 timeline, but as I mentioned, yes, they can turn flesh to stone, similar to a trick we've seen another Wonder Woman in DC Comics use, and that is Nubia. In this universe, Zarda uses this technique to imprison all her strongest foes, from the Mangog to Hercules to Null the King in Black, to Tigra, who in this universe stands in for Wonder Woman villain Cheetah, as well as Janet Van Dyne, who in this universe is not the Wasp, but instead became Zarda's own version of the Wonder Woman villain Giganta, only in this realm, she's known as the Giantess. She even keeps the heads of Marvel's greatest monsters mounted on her wall, Fin Fang Foom being chief among them. Zarda even has possession of the Siege Perilous, a device once given to the X-Men by Merlin's own daughter, Roma, but would later become a source of great misery for the team in later years. Zarda keeps this powerful artifact locked away inside her secret headquarters in the head of the Statue of Liberty. She's apparently only really used it to get white girl wasted. This version of Power Princess is also not so much romantically tied to Hyperion, the Marvel Comics version of Superman, but apparently they clap each other's cheeks when they need to release. She doesn't find him personally interesting though. The things that he loves and cares about, which Wonder Woman herself would find fascinating, Zarda despises. Children, American history, patriotism. In fact, she'd rather be with someone like Namor. She's even had a taste for Nighthawk, as we learned in Heroes Reborn number 5, but now we know that Zarda, who thinks making Nighthawk jealous is something to get her juices flowing, is also considering causing a second superhero civil war between Hyperion and Nighthawk over herself just to have something fun to do. You see, this version of Wonder Woman, this power princess, that's what she craves. She wants war. She revels in it. She doesn't care about compassion or the humanity in the world of men. No, all she cares about is blood and destruction. Like, if we're being incredibly honest with ourselves, Zarda is basically Wonder Woman from the Injustice universe. That's how little she gives about anything. What really separates Zarda from Diana of DC Comics, though, is how much she hates the gods. Wonder Woman isn't their biggest fan, but Power Princess absolutely despises anyone who considers themselves a god. So much that when a crack of thunder strikes that sounds much too unnatural, she demands Hercules, freshly turned from stone to flesh, tell her who it was, even using her own twisted version of Wonder Woman's lasso of Hestia, aka the lasso of truth, but this one is a chain of veracity that, much like Diana's lasso, forces people to tell her the truth. But Hercules only laughs as he's turned back to stone. Knowing that a threat is coming her way, she unleashes a weapon that would bring tears to an Asgardian's eyes. Her rainbow axe, forged from the very last piece of the Bifrost during the Ragnarok Wars that led to all of the Asgardians falling. She had no personal hand in this war, however. As she admits later on, she simply stood by and watched the gods kill themselves, destroying everything in their wake, Valhalla included. This rainbow axe that she wields is capable of transporting her wherever she wants, much like the Bifrost of old, and she wants to go to Asgard, or rather what's left of it, and she finds Thor. Still slovenly looking as if he just woke up from a 5-year bender. He knows the world is wrong and demands to be put back to rights. His memory no longer gone, but now restored thanks to him rediscovering Mjolnir in Heroes Reborn number 1. And seeing Zarda wielding the last piece of Bifrost, he knows that she's no ally. And Zarda is relieved because she wanted a fight, and who better to fight than the last Asgardian? Even if the rainbow axe can't stop Thor, her no blade, an invisible weapon, in reference to Wonder Woman's various and sundry other invisible accessories from throughout the years, ranging from a plane to even a chainsaw in Dark Knight's death metal. She reminds Thor that when the gods fell, no one missed them because she replaced them. She not only replaced them, but she did the things they never could. She killed Gore the God Butcher, as I mentioned earlier. She snapped the neck of the Phoenix. She held back hordes of demons from Limbo. She destroyed the Celestials and single-handedly ended World War Hulk. But for some reason, she can't get past Thor's defenses. Something is stopping her, something she faintly recognizes the feel of. Uru. And when Thor reclaims Mjolnir, transforming himself back into Thor, it's where he says something that sends shockwaves through Zarda as he leaves her to seek answers that he might just get from the new Phoenix herself, Echo. Which makes things more interesting considering that in the last few pages of Avengers prior to Heroes Reborn, Thor was reminded that the Phoenix, the entity itself, is actually Thor's own mother, so this will be quite an interesting conversation most likely. All that aside, Zarda has become obsessed with Thor, desperately needing to face him in combat again to sate her bloodlust and her need to fight. But more important than that, she wants to know if anyone else on her team knows who the Avengers are. This is actually the first time in the entirety of this Heroes Reborn story arc that anyone on the Squadron Supreme has even mentioned anything about there being a team called the Avengers to any of the others. For the most part, they've all kept this information largely to themselves. They have not talked about it with anyone. They haven't said anything to anyone. All they've done is tell other people. The closest that we've, I think, even gotten to anyone talking to someone else about this is when Dr. Spectrum speaks with President Phil Coulson about the idea of there potentially being another reality where things were different, and that's really it. We did get a little bit of a mention too. Blerd may have said something to Nighthawk about, there being some alternate timeline or something of that sort, but even that was something that Blerd quickly forgot about because he has a short attention span. But for the most part, all of them individually have heard something or learned something that the timeline they live in is probably not the real one, but in most cases, they've all pretty much decided that, with the exception of maybe Blerd and maybe possibly Dr. Spectrum, they've decided that they don't care. Even if this world is not the real one, they would fight for it to keep it the way that it is. And in this particular instance, we don't really know how Zarda feels about it because she never really actually comes out and says it, but for what we do know, if she did have to make a choice about it, she probably wouldn't care one way or the other. All she really seems to care about is fighting in war. That's it. The only other thing she cares about as much as fighting in war, it sounds like from reading this comic, is and that's about it. So that aside, yeah, this version of Wonder Woman, this technically, she's not the first version of Power Princess. She's actually a simulacrum of the Power Princess of Earth 712, but that's neither here nor there. Point of the matter is, she is an even more dangerous and more hardcore version of Power Princess than we've ever seen in Marvel Comics. And I would even go as far as to say she is a more dangerous version of Wonder Woman than we've ever seen in anything. I honestly think Zarda would clap Diana's cheeks from now until the end of days because, yeah, she's just that hardcore. I don't think Diana could hang with her. Someone this dangerous? Oh my God, dude, no, it would be I would love to see it. Honestly, that's what I want to see. Everybody talks about this Avengers versus Justice League, this DC Marvel amalgam business. No, actually what I want is give me the Squadron Supreme of America versus the Justice League of America. That's the book I want to see. I don't care about the Avengers versus the Justice League. We've seen that book before at least 2 or 3 times over. I'm good. Give me the Squadron Supreme versus the Justice League and I'm in. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share this video all over the internet and with all your friends so they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to the Marvel Comics event, Heroes Reborn. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about Heroes Reborn number 6. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.